Hey, Rebel Rouser. I'm Alan Voivod, and this is Star Wars 7x7. We're at episode number 1726 today. Thank you so much for joining me for it. Thank you so much for subscribing, for all the wonderful ratings and reviews, and thank you so much also, and especially to the patrons who are helping making this possible with their support every single day at patreon.com/SW7x7. And if you're not one of the patrons, then I hope you will consider becoming one. All right, so today we're continuing our series of looks at Star Wars Celebration, the preview of the coverage that we're going to be providing here. I'm going to be providing here. It's me. I'm a one-man band here at Star Wars 7x7. And this is what we've got going on for Friday. I'm going to give you the top 5 highlights of what's happening at Celebration Chicago if you are a fan of seeing how these Star Wars stories are advancing and how they are being told. There are a lot of other wonderful things to be able to see at Celebration Chicago as well. So just because it's not necessarily on this top 5 is not any sort of, negative mark on any of those things. It's just simply that these are the biggest news-making situations that will be happening at Star Wars Celebration Chicago. For a start, there are a couple of major publishing-related events that are happening at Celebration Chicago on Friday. First of all, Rob Bredow, who is the Senior Vice President, Executive Creative Director, and Head of ILM, and also the Visual Effects Supervisor for Solo, A Star Wars Story, is going to be taking people behind the scenes of the making of Solo, A Star Wars Story, and this is connected with a behind-the-scenes photo book that he is going to be releasing in the near future. So that is ILM Presents Making Solo, and that's happening at 5:30 on the Galaxy stage. There's a bit of overlap between that one and the other major publishing event that's happening on Friday. That takes place on the Twin Suns stage starting at 4:45, and it is the Lucasfilm Publishing Panel. And if you go to the Celebration website, there's no information about that panel just yet, but StarWars.com has this to say about it. They say, join some of the biggest and best Star Wars authors to discuss new and upcoming stories set in a galaxy far, far away, plus get exclusive sneak peeks and announcements into the future of Star Wars publishing, featuring Jeffrey Brown, Zoraida Cordova, Delilah Dawson, Claudia Gray, Justina Ireland, E.K. Johnston, Kevin Scott, Timothy Zahn, and more, moderated by Lucasfilm's Michael Siglane. And so, that means that we are going to have a lot of new book announcements and some cover art probably revealed to us as well. And very likely we're going to get some insight into the presumed journey to episode 9, whatever the publishing initiative is that's going to be similar to Journey to the Last Jedi and Journey to the Force Awakens. There should be, in all likelihood, a Journey to episode 9 as well. And this would be the place where we will find out about the novels and short story collections and other assorted books and things targeted for all age groups that will be tied into episode 9, and probably stuff that relates to the Triple Force Friday event happening in October as well. Now, there's another panel on the Galaxy stage a little earlier in the day at 3:30 is when it starts. And this one isn't really a breaking news one, but I have to include it because I have to give props to David Collins. He has done for Star Wars something that I think no other podcaster has done, and that is when he was doing Star Wars Oxygen, he was doing some incredible analysis of the music of John Williams, and you can't find anything like that anywhere else. And now he has moved on and is doing a podcast that looks at a larger realm of music, not just Star Wars music, but at Celebration Chicago, he is going to be doing a session where he does an analysis of the music of The Phantom Menace, which of course is fitting because it's the 20th anniversary of The Phantom Menace. But I tell you, if you are a fan of Star Wars music at all, and like me, your appreciation, is not necessarily bolstered by a depth of understanding of, music theory and its application and that sort of thing, well, I got to tell you, there is nothing better for you than to listen to David Collins talk about how incredibly amazing John Williams is and about what he has done within the various Star Wars scores. Because, as much as it's wonderful to listen to John Williams himself, John isn't really telling you all the tricks and secrets that he's putting into these soundtracks. But David Collins is the best investigator of these out there. All right, so The next one I want to talk about is probably one of the biggest announcements that is not necessarily being treated like a big announcement, at least as far as I've seen coverage-wise. And that is the panel that we're going to have about Vader Immortal. There is a Vader Immortal, a Star Wars VR series thing happening. Yes, there are going to be 3 installments to it. We know that just in general, but there is going to be a panel on the Celebration stage at 1:30 on Friday, and it says, join ILM, XLab, and Oculus for a sneak peek at the first Star Wars story series designed for virtual reality, Vader Immortal. Learn more about this immersive descent into Darth Vader's fiery Mustafar fortress from the people behind its story, design, and technology. So I think this is incredibly exciting, and I think that, the recent podcast that we did about the bolstering of personnel within Lucasfilm Games, it says Lucasfilm Games, but it's really within the parks and experiences arm of Disney. And so, they're talking not just about video games, but also about augmented reality and virtual reality. And I think that this is really where the future of storytelling in general and Star Wars storytelling in specific is going. These investments are only going to continue and get better and better. And so I think not only are you getting a look at an incredible new Star Wars story, but I think you're getting a look at the future of Star Wars storytelling. And there is one other thing happening on Friday that will be major news, of course, and I'll tell you about that in just a second. But first, I do want to remind you to subscribe here to the show wherever you like to get it, audio, video, however you like to have it. And I hope, again, you will consider supporting me in delivering this daily dose of Star Wars joy to you, this one-man show for all of you all over the world by supporting me at patreon.com/SW7X7. All right. The thing on Friday that we haven't talked about yet is, surprise, surprise, it's the episode 9 panel. Come on, of course it's going to be that. So here's the official description. It says, with the culmination of the Star Wars saga arriving before the end of the year, the Star Wars Episode 9 panel is one you will definitely not want to miss. With Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy and Star Wars Episode 9 Director J.J. Abrams appearing on stage, you can count on plenty of surprises and special guests to keep your imagination buzzing for the rest of Celebration. Live on the Celebration stage, streamed to the Galaxy and Twin Suns stages, this is the absolute #1 can't-miss event of Friday at Star Wars Celebration. And no, of course, they haven't announced whether there's going to be a trailer. They haven't announced whether they're going to announce the title. But I'll tell you, I think it's a foregone conclusion at this point that that's going to happen. I think there might be a riot if they didn't. But I guess we will see in just a couple short weeks. But for now, that is going to do it for today's episode of my show, at the very least. And thank you so much for joining me for it. And, of course, as always, may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
This podcast is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox. It is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other related Star Wars items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2019 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.